Ukraine said Monday it hoped a UN-brokered deal aimed at easing global food shortages by resuming grain exports from the Black Sea region would start to be implemented this week. Moscow brushed aside concerns that the deal could be derailed by a Russian missile strike on Ukraine's port of Odessa on Saturday, saying it targeted only military infrastructure. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has denounced the attack as barbarism that shows Moscow cannot be trusted. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Monday there are no barriers to the export of grain from Ukrainian ports. Myanmar's ruling military has executed 4 democracy activists accused of helping to carry out terror acts, it said on Monday, sparking widespread condemnation of the Southeast Asian nation's first executions in decades. Sentenced to death in closed-door trials in January and April, the men had been accused of helping a resistance movement to fight the army that seized power in a coup last year and unleashed a bloody crackdown on its opponents. Former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak said on Monday China represented the largest threat to Britain and world security this century, setting out his plans to deal with Beijing in the latest front in the battle to become prime minister. Sunak and Foreign Secretary Liz Truss are fighting in an increasingly divisive Conservative Party leadership contest to replace Boris Johnson after a revolt against his scandal-ridden administration forced him to say that he would step down. And Pope Francis visits a former residential school in Canada where he is expected to make an historic apology to Indigenous survivors of decades of abuse committed at Catholic-run institutions. Tunisians began voting Monday in a referendum on a new constitution that critics of the current president fear will dismantle the democracy that emerged from a 2011 revolution by handing him near total power. The vote is being held on the first anniversary of the president's ousting of an elected parliament when he established emergency rule and began governing by fiat. China delivered sterner warnings to U.S. officials about U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi's possible visit to Taiwan, a foreign ministry spokesman said on Monday, confirming a report by the Financial Times, or FT. The FT report published on Saturday cited 6 people familiar with the Chinese warnings as saying they were significantly stronger than the threats that Beijing has made in the past when it was unhappy with U.S. actions or policy on Taiwan, which is claimed by China. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on Monday promised tax reforms, a faster infrastructure upgrade, and to turn his country into an investment destination while pledging to transform agriculture to drive growth and reduce reliance on food imports. In an ambitious policy speech to Congress, screened live on television, Marcos, who is the son of the strongman overthrown in a 1986 revolt, said he would create jobs and support growth by improving tourism and by modernizing agriculture using scientific methods and an infusion of fresh and new blood. A bid by South Korea's government to increase police oversight has sparked a protest by some officers, which drew criticism on Monday from a top minister who referred to the role of the security forces played in the past to support authoritarian rule. The dispute comes as a new conservative government is settling in and trying to limit the impact of some changes made by the previous liberal government, including on the sharing of powers and responsibilities between the police and prosecutors. Construction sites, factory assembly lines, and warehouses across Central Europe are scrambling to fill vacancies after tens of thousands of Ukrainian men left their blue-collar jobs to return home after Russia invaded their country. Ukrainian workers had flocked to Central Europe in the past decade, drawn by higher wages and aided by an easing of visa requirements, filling jobs that weren't highly paid enough for local workers in construction, the automotive sector, and heavy industry.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.